Bruce Willis has long been associated with the golden era of Hollywood action cinema, a figure whose presence on screen once meant tension, intensity, and quiet charisma under pressure. From explosive blockbusters to emotionally layered dramas, his career built not only a global reputation, but also a financial legacy that placed him among the most successful actors of his generation. Yet behind the public image of strength and resilience, recent years have brought a very different narrative, one centered on health challenges, family adaptation, and the gradual withdrawal from public life. In this retelling, the focus is not only on fame or fortune, but on the human reality of aging, illness, and the way families reorganize themselves when one central figure can no longer participate. As before, reports and public statements from those close to him have described a transition marked by difficulty, care decisions, and emotional strain. At the same time, there remains a consistent emphasis on dignity, protection, and unity within his family structure. What emerges is a portrait of contrast, the unstoppable action hero of cinema history versus the quiet, private individual now surrounded by care and family support. This story is less about spectacle and more about what happens when the cameras stop, and life becomes defined by patience, adaptation, and presence rather than performance. From humble beginnings to Hollywood recognition, Bruce Willis's early life did not hint at the global fame that would follow. Born into a military family in post-war Germany and later raised in the United States, he grew up in a working-class environment where discipline and routine shaped much of daily life. One of the defining struggles of his childhood was a severe stutter, which made communication difficult and often frustrating. Rather than retreating inward, he eventually found an outlet in performance, where acting became both therapy and expression. School theater became the first space where speech limitations softened and confidence began to form. This early exposure to performance would later guide him toward a professional acting career. After high school, he briefly attended college but left before completing his studies, choosing instead to pursue acting in New York. The transition was not immediate success, but a long period of uncertainty, survival jobs, and constant auditions. During this time, he worked as a bartender and took various service roles while attending acting classes. Roles were small, often uncredited, and rarely stable, yet persistence defined this period. Like many actors in New York at the time, he moved through rejection and temporary work, gradually building experience. It was not glamour that defined this stage of life, but endurance. His eventual breakthrough came through television, where early appearances slowly built recognition. From there, his career trajectory shifted dramatically, setting the stage for a rise that would later place him among Hollywood's most recognizable faces. Rise to stardom and the formation of an action icon, the turning point in Bruce Willis's career, came when he transitioned from television visibility into major film roles. What distinguished him was not traditional hero aesthetics, but a grounded, everyman quality that audiences connected with. This contrast became especially clear in action films, where he often portrayed reluctant heroes rather than invincible figures. His role in major action franchises transformed him into a global icon. The character archetype he embodied, a physically vulnerable yet mentally resilient protagonist, became a defining template for modern action cinema. These films were not just commercially successful, they reshaped audience expectations of what an action lead could look like. Throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, his filmography expanded into both high-intensity blockbusters and critically respected dramas. He demonstrated versatility in projects ranging from science fiction epics to crime narratives and psychological thrillers. His performances often balanced intensity with restraint, contributing to his long-standing appeal. Financially, this period was also significant. Industry reports have long noted that he became one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood, earning substantial salaries per project along with back-end profit participation in select films. Some productions reportedly generated tens of millions in additional revenue through box office percentage agreements and syndication rights. This phase established not only a career peak, but also a long-term financial foundation that would sustain him well beyond active filming years. Wealth, royalties, and long-term financial stability. Bruce Willis's financial portfolio is often cited as one of the more stable examples among Hollywood actors of his era. Unlike earnings limited strictly to upfront salaries, his income structure included profit-sharing agreements, royalties, and residual payments that continued long after films left theaters. One of the most frequently referenced examples is his participation in major box office successes, where back-end deals reportedly generated significantly higher returns than initial salaries. Over time, these agreements contributed to a cumulative wealth estimated in the hundreds of millions. Beyond film income, his financial strategy included investments in real estate. Over the years, properties in various locations were acquired and later sold, often as part of broader asset restructuring. Reports suggest that in recent years, some properties were liquidated, possibly as part of long-term planning related to health care needs and estate management. A legal trust structure was also reportedly established to manage assets and ensure continuity for his family. Such arrangements are common among high-net-worth individuals, particularly when long-term medical care and estate protection are considered. The trust reportedly designates responsibilities for financial oversight and outlines distribution plans for beneficiaries. Importantly, this financial stability has been described as a safeguard rather than a source of conflict, ensuring that care and living arrangements remain supported regardless of changes in professional activity or health status. Health decline and withdrawal from public life in recent years. Public attention has increasingly focused on Bruce Willis's health condition and his gradual withdrawal from acting. According to family statements shared with media, he was diagnosed with a neurological condition that affects communication and cognitive function. This development led to his retirement from acting and a significant shift in daily life. Early signs reportedly included difficulties with dialogue delivery on set, memory challenges, and reduced responsiveness during filming. As these symptoms progressed, the decision was made to step away from professional commitments entirely. This transition marked the end of a decades-long acting career. Following this, his public appearances became rare, and updates about his condition were primarily shared by family members. These updates often emphasized both the difficulty of the situation and the importance of care, safety, and emotional support. The condition, as described publicly, affects communication abilities over time, which has led to changes in how interaction occurs within the family. Instead of verbal communication, emphasis has shifted toward presence, physical proximity, and non-verbal connection. Despite the challenges, statements from relatives suggest that moments of recognition and awareness still occur, reinforcing the importance of family involvement and structured care environment. Designed for long-term support, structure, and shared responsibility, Bruce Willis's family structure is notably extended, involving children from 2 marriages and a blended household dynamic. His first marriage to actress Demi Moore resulted in 3 daughters, while his later marriage to Emma Heming Willis added 2 younger daughters to the family. Following his health changes, responsibility within the family has been redistributed. His current wife has taken a leading role in managing both care coordination and financial oversight, particularly through the established trust system. This includes working with medical professionals, coordinating living arrangements, and managing legal and financial documentation. At the same time, his older children remain actively involved in his life, participating in visits, family gatherings, and emotional support structures. Public statements from them have often reflected a sense of adjustment, acknowledging both presence and absence in different forms. The blended family dynamic has been described as generally cooperative, though naturally complex. Different generations experience his condition differently. Older children remember his peak career years, while younger children experience a quieter version of his presence shaped by care routines rather than public life. Despite emotional difficulty, the overarching theme in public accounts remains one of shared responsibility rather than division. Emotional impact and the weight of transition, the emotional dimension of this situation, is often described as the most challenging aspect for the family. Watching a once highly expressive and public figure gradually lose communication ability creates a form of grief that unfolds over time rather than at a single moment. Family members have occasionally expressed this sentiment in interviews, describing it as an ongoing adjustment rather than a fixed event. The difficulty lies not only in change, but in continuity, recognizing the same person while experiencing a very different form of interaction. Care routines now structure daily life with emphasis on stability, familiarity, and comfort. Activities such as listening to music, reading, or simply sitting together have become meaningful forms of connection. These moments, while quiet, are often described as important anchors in the family's emotional landscape. At the same time, financial and logistical responsibilities add another layer of complexity. Decisions about property, care expenses, and legal management require coordination and transparency, which can amplify emotional strain. Despite these pressures, public statements from the family consistently return to themes of unity, respect, and long-term care planning. Public perception and legacy beyond illness outside the family. Public perception of Bruce Willis remains deeply tied to his cinematic legacy. For many audiences, he is still defined by iconic roles in action and drama films that shaped modern pop culture. His characters often represented resilience, humor under pressure, and understated heroism. As news of his health became public, the response from fans and colleagues was largely one of respect and appreciation. Rather than focusing solely on decline, many discussions emphasized the breadth of his career and the impact of his performances across decades. His legacy is also reinforced by the continued popularity of his films, which remain widely viewed and frequently referenced in discussions of classic Hollywood cinema. This ongoing presence ensures that his cultural influence persists independently of his current public visibility. In this sense, his identity exists on two parallel levels: the historical figure of cinema and the private individual experiencing a very different stage of life. Conclusion: a story of presence, change, and enduring connection. Bruce Willis's life story cannot be reduced to a single phase, whether it is the height of Hollywood fame or the quieter present, defined by health challenges. Instead, it reflects a full arc of human experience, struggle, achievement, stability, and vulnerability. What remains consistent throughout is the presence of family, both as support and as structure. Financial planning, care arrangements, and emotional support systems all reflect an effort to preserve dignity and continuity in the face of change. While public attention often gravitates toward dramatic narratives, the reality described by those close to him is more grounded, a life now shaped by care, routine, and quiet connection rather than public performance. Ultimately, his legacy extends beyond film roles or financial success. It lies in the lasting impression of a career built on perseverance and the ongoing commitment of a family navigating change together.